Hello and welcome to All E Daily with who?
You're welcome to All E Daily.
Thank you so much for having me at Oli Daily.
What can you say about yourself?
Every time I get asked that question, I get thrown off balance. In the sense that, okay, it's one of those things where you don't know what you're going to say or something, and we're always changing or adding things to it's when they ask you questions like these that you get to realize, okay, who am I again? Well, I would say my name is QalbSalem Muhammad, and I am a calligrapher, an architect, a graphic designer, and a poet.
Do you have any hobbies?
Hobbies, I would say I love skating, but I haven't exactly been doing that in a while. But other than that, I would say it's mostly calligraphy and paintings.
So you practice some of your hobbies?
Yes, I do.
Growing up, who motivated you to be a better person?
Growing up, my father, he was the first role model that I had. He influenced a lot of my thoughts and my work too. Even calligraphy that I do today was something I learned from him. Although his was more, it's not like I found him doing it. There were his works lying around the house because he always kept them in his portfolio or something like that. So from time to time, we would pick them out and then just go over it without even knowing what they were. But we had an idea of it's Arabic calligraphy and whatnot. So that inspired a lot of my calligraphy journey along the way, even though it's not something that I thought I would find myself doing.
So we know, or let me say, I know you love calligraphy.
Yes.
So let's talk about it a little.
Calligraphy is something that I would say I discovered out of passion in university. It's more about self-expression, even though in the beginning it was more about, okay, I like what this looks like, because then we were doing this presentation in school with our projects and whatnot. So it required us to have this, to title our sheets with lettering and whatnot. So I thought I was looking for ways to stand out. And then I tried calligraphy, and even though I wouldn't exactly call it calligraphy now, but then it was more of a mashup of different letters from different scripts, which I didn't even know. Scripts, fonts, let me say it in terms like that, the various fonts. So I pieced things together and just put it out. It looked pretty nice, and then people would compliment and say, okay, this looks good, because it looked different. And then along the line, I found that, okay, this is not actually what calligraphy is outside of Nigeria. Outside of Nigeria, they use different tools. They have specific types that they practice, and so I discovered the whole Instagram tribe of calligraphers and whatnot. So I learned from them. Not like paid for a course or whatever. I couldn't afford to pay for a course then. So it was more like, okay, see what they're doing, what tools are they using, and asking around. But then I didn't really get plenty responses with regards to that. So it was not until I found Fahad Aliu. Yes, he's also a calligrapher too, but then he was in, I'm going on and on and on about this, but yes, basically, calligraphy has done so much for me. It has taken me places, made me I met a lot of people through calligraphy, through my work. People I don't even think that they see my work, send me messages saying they appreciate what I do because it's different and whatnot. So yes, I think that pretty much summarizes it.
When did you decide to make calligraphy your business?
That would be early 2019. I started calligraphy in 2016-ish, 2016, 2017. I started then, but then officially it was in 2019 when I was serving in Nasarawa State. I basically used most of my service here to learn calligraphy well enough to be able to put it out there, as well as grow some audience for the page before I started selling the calligraphy as framed artworks.
What can you say about creativity?
Creativity, I would say it's something that is both inborn and it's something that is cultivated, in the sense that we are all born with this thing as kids, we all have this knack for creativity, whether we like it or not, whether we were good at it or not. We were free in our expressions. So you could still call that creativity, because that freedom in expressing yourself in the way only you can is what creativity is about. So that was, I would say creativity is something that can be cultivated, even though along the line we tend to lose it. So I try to help my students, or the people I teach calligraphy, how to regain that flexibility or that freedom in their expression through calligraphy.
Lifestyle is how you live your life, isn't it?
Yeah.
How is your own lifestyle?
My lifestyle, I would say it's pretty much simple. It's not really as complicated or anything. It's basically work, some play. I feel I have a pretty much balanced lifestyle.
Interesting. Do you have any children?
No, I do not have any children.
Then what can you
yet.
say about parenting?
Parenting, I would say I'm not in any way comparing it to whatever it is I'm about to say. I have about 12 siblings, and for a lot of them, I am sort of the father figure. In times where at times when my father is not available to do some things or discipline or something. So from that little experience, I am nowhere comparing it to parenting, but I know it's one hell of a job.
You motivate a lot out there, and you even teaches them how to do calligraphy, isn't it?
Yes.
How do you do that?
Well, it's more about how we find inspiration everywhere, in the sense that we are drawn to people who inspire us. It's not like it's not like it's not the other way around. We are not the one who. It's just that we are drawn to people that inspire us, right? So if people find me inspiring, I find that a privilege and honor, actually, because in my own I am just trying to express myself, to do something that I love doing and sharing it with the world. So if people, that is how I actually started the whole calligraphy business, because I never saw it to be what it actually is today. It was when people started seeing it as something that is something they could learn. So, in fact, people didn't even know they could learn calligraphy. They thought it was something that you had to be born with. So the fact that the fact that people find inspiration in you, in the sense that they can learn what it is that you're doing, and that you don't have two heads, it makes it really a fun thing, and it makes people really open up to possibilities.
So let's not keep talking about calligraphy. I know you love poetry. What
Yeah.
can you say about it, and what types of poetry do you do?
Poetry. I would say my poetry muse has deserted me so far, because it's been a while since I wrote any poems. But I would classify as a love poet. I write mostly love poems, and about my surroundings, culture, and whatnot.
What is your morning like?
My mornings are mostly, I sleep mostly in the mornings, and then occasionally, when I have things that pull me out of bed in the morning, or I need to do some really deep thinking over some work that I'm doing, when I need to get a head start, I wake up in the morning, and after subhi, I don't go back to sleep after that.
And what about your day?
My day is, I mostly work from home. So after having breakfast, I simply move to my home office, and then I run my business from there.
Let's talk about food. What is your favorite food?
Surprisingly, I do not have a favorite food.
Okay.
Yes, I do not have a favorite food, but I would say I don't know, anything that tastes nice, and my wife is excellent at making things that taste really nice.
Okay, beef or chicken?
Chicken.
Rice or spaghetti?
Rice.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
What do you do for a living, apart from art?
Apart from art, would you classify graphic design too is still art? Calligraphy is art. Basically, architecture too is art. So
it generally revolves
yes,
around
it generally revolves around art.
So what can you say about art generally?
I would say it's a tool for self-expression, be it to communicate your ideas to yourself or to others, to bring something out of your mind and bring it to reality, and that in its way influences other people to think or work to decorate their homes or something, or build the homes. So basically, I would say it's a form of expression.
Which are you, introvert or extrovert?
There's no in between.
There is no
I
in
would say
between.
I would say an introvert, really.
What other skills do you have apart from all the things you've mentioned?
Let me see. What other skills I have? I don't think I have a lot of skills outside of what I've told you.
If you're given a sum of 25 million naira only, what will you do with it?
That's a big question. But yes, I would hope to amplify my businesses in the sense that there would be need to expand on operations, and there's suddenly capital to reach out to function on a capacity that you wouldn't be able to function without that capital. For calligraphy, open an actual what do you call it, resource center or a physical shop where getting calligraphy supplies is actually something that is difficult. Even it was a challenge for me even when I started. So I would invest part of that into setting up a proper shop with proper calligraphy materials, not art materials, calligraphy materials, and then getting what do you call it, with graphic design, setting up a space where they would be learning, and mostly to impact other people.
The northern Nigeria has a lot of opportunities, as we know.
Yeah.
Which ones do you see?
Mostly, I see the education sector, not academics specifically, because I feel there is most of the learning currently is we're in the 21st century, and there's information literally at the tips of our fingers. So it's kind of important for us to know that knowledge is not only in the academia, and we can actually impart others, teach others, not necessarily in classrooms, but in spaces where we get to sit and just interact with one another and share ideas.
In the next 5 years, where does QalbSalem see himself?
I see myself with lots of people of influence, making a change, making an impact on people that have little to no to do with, and mostly with people that have interest in seeing them, in seeing that they find a creative outlet for themselves, as well as which I would say I'm currently doing some of it, but I am hoping that it would advance a lot. Basically, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
We have come to the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoy it and you have learned one or two things. I'll see you in the next one.